Hey guys, Jared with Warrior Lab Training Concepts here. Pretty excited. We're doing another pistol review for the week. This week, I have one of these guys. It's a Heckler&Koch Koch, VP9. When I first handled this gun, I will say I've heard the hype. I've heard people talk about them, and I was just thinking, oh, it's just an H&K. That's why you're so excited. But after shooting it, it's a pretty sweet gun. And I'll tell you why. But first, let's go over some basics. Full size. I believe this is their 4-inch version. I'm gonna hold it up next to my M&P. Very similar in profile and length. Has a similar bore axis. It's a sweet shooter. I think that's what kind of plays into that. So, cold gun. So let's get started. Let's first talk about the sights on it. Couldn't find any information on the H&K website, but I believe they are night sights. I noticed after I had it outside and went inside, the sights were illuminated. I feel like they were picking up on some sunlight. Great sights. This pistol is just so easy to point and shoot with the sights on it. I've shot Glocks. I've shot my own personal M&P. I've had several M&Ps. I've shot several different brands, but I just felt it was very easy to put your rounds right where your sights were every time. It was very impressive. Let's talk about the grip. I don't want to go into too much about the grips because typically that's subjective to the user. Feels good in the hand. I didn't change the back strap on it. It has the back strap with a hump. I prefer typically a straighter back. Stippling on it it's pretty okay. Not quite as aggressive as the stippling on my M&P 2.0, which we all know is pretty aggressive. But it feels good in the hand. It does. The way it manages recoil is, I will say it's better than my M&P. I'm not sure if it's the guide rod or the springs in it, how they choose to do that, but there's certainly a difference in recoil. Next, we'll talk about the one thing I didn't like about the gun is the mag release. H&K, I see what you're trying to do here, and I appreciate some fine German engineering. I'm sure I'm sure the guys that did create this gun are a lot more intelligent than I am, and they put a lot of thought into this, but it's just different. You expect your mag release to be right here on the gun, but it's this little paddle. And it works if you need to use your other finger or go from an ambidextrous standpoint, and it works. And I got to where I was pretty good with it. I like it. It certainly didn't slow me down, but I do like being able to hit that with my thumb. And in situations where, say, your partner or anybody that's trained on that is going to pick, your normal mag release, anybody that's trained on that picks this gun up and they need to use it, they might have some issues with that. And that's my only catch on that. I will talk about the slide release on this gun. It's awesome. And it's better, much better than my M&P. It's in a league of its own. It's better than a Glock, and it's so crispy. It just sends it home every time, and I like it a lot. Let's talk about the trigger next. Check it out. That's where it starts. A little bit of take up, and then spongy on the wall. Crisp break. Reset. It's pretty far out there, and it sends your finger much further than the actual reset once it actually resets. Good audible reset. I don't want to say the trigger is bad on this gun because I'm shooting an Apex Flatty in my M&P, and that's just not a fair comparison. This is a stock polymer trigger. I think it's better than a Glock trigger. It's similar to a Glock trigger. It's better to a Glock trigger in my opinion. It's not the best. I think it's a great trigger, but I think the H&K hype, because every time I hear people talk about the Vp9, they talk about the trigger. Good trigger, but is it the best? I've certainly felt better polymer triggers. It's up there, but I've squeezed the trigger on a Koch TP9, and it's not quite like the Koch, but it's better than Glock, and I hope to get a CZ at some point, P10, so I can compare it to that too. I hear those are pretty good triggers as well. Got some rounds through it, ran it through a tier 1 concealed carry rig with a sidecar for additional mag. We'll talk about the mags here. The gun ships with 2 15-round magazines, which I don't want to knock it for that. However, for a full-size gun, for a duty-size gun, I do think you're limited because the Glock and M&P both have 17-round mags, and they're just kind of behind in that department. And the gun's dimensions physically are very similar to a Glock, a full-size, a 17 and an M&P full-size 2.0, and you're losing 2 rounds, which I think 15 rounds of 9mm is plenty to go around. Don't get me wrong, and if you always have spare mags, but I think H&K really should find a way to get 2 more rounds in the mag and at least be catch up with the competitors. We'll talk about the case. I'm pretty, the case is kind of irrelevant because you're probably gonna put this in a corner somewhere and you probably won't carry your gun in it. But it's cool. It's H&K. It's a different case. You open it up, find some back straps. It's similar to every other case you get. They give you a reloading tool, or a loading tool. I'll probably never ever use that if I bought this gun. You get 2 back straps, 2 additional back straps. I believe these are some side panels. That way you have options to contour the grip to your hand. I think that's cool. Would I ever own a VP9? Sure. At $750, I think there's, I don't want to say better options because that's subjective. You go to a gun store, you find what fits in your hand, what you feel comfortable shooting, and you train with that. I would have absolutely no qualms if I had the money to go and pick one of these bad boys up. It's a sweet shooter, and it really impressed me with the way it handled recoil, the ease of point and shoot with it, and if you can get over the little paddle shifter, the paddle mag release, you shouldn't have any problems with it. Just train with what you have, and you can't go wrong with an H&K. I've always been a fan of H&K products. I've shot 416s before. It's German engineering. It's overbuilt. This gun will be 10 times more accurate than you. The trigger is a great out-of-the-box trigger. This gun needs absolutely nothing to go, and I'd feel comfortable from day one carrying it. Obviously I'd shoot a couple rounds through it to make sure I don't have a lemon, but I would feel very, very comfortable running this gun in stock form no matter what. It's a great gun, and I didn't think that at first, but after shooting it and handling it, it's awesome. And we'll talk about the little loaded chamber indicator. Actually, it's not really a loaded chamber indicator. It indicates that the striker is ready to go, and that's a cool little feature. I mean, I really don't pay attention to things like that. Just use good gun safety, but you understand the political climate that we're in. But other than that, awesome gun. I'd feel pretty good about owning one of these. But would it be the first thing I go to? That's for you to decide. You have to go pick it up, handle it. If you have a buddy that'll let you shoot it, like my friend was nice enough to lend it to me for a day or two to review it. That's for you to decide. Great gun, definitely worth the $750 price tag. You'll never have an issue with this gun, I don't think, or at least I hope not. It's an H&K, and when you buy an H&K, it comes with that. So. Thank you guys for tuning in. We want to continue to bring you fitness, personal growth, and guns. That's what we like doing here at Warrior Lab Training Concepts in the compound. We're going to get better at this every day, just like you should in your own life. Get better at every way possible when you wake up till the sun goes down. Please like and subscribe. It means the world to us. We want to continue to do this and bring you good content, and I just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching this right now. Just hit that like and subscribe button. Dude, this thing is accurate. accurate. This thing is very accurate.